The moment you started watching this video, something much bigger than you imagined was triggered. Maybe it's an ordinary evening. Maybe you clicked out of curiosity. But do you feel that slight stir inside you? That feeling is a sign that you didn't click on this video randomly. You attracted this video to yourself, and this video has come to announce a great event to you. Because the March Equinox is not an ordinary sky event, and you are standing right at that threshold. But here's the truly shocking part. This equinox is opening a new page in your spiritual contract, and you have officially chosen this. Yes, perhaps not consciously, but your soul chose it. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying the invisible side of humanity. He explained how the subconscious is experienced as fate, how symbols are reflected in the outer world, and how life keeps presenting the same lesson to a person who has not recognized their own shadow. And one of Jung's deepest teachings was this: what is unconscious appears before us as fate. Now I ask you a question. In the last few weeks, have you felt an unexplainable tension inside you? Have your nights been restless? Have old issues resurfaced? Or even if nothing seemed to be happening, did a feeling that something is about to happen grow inside you? This is the pre-equinox vibration. The equinox is the moment when light and darkness are equal, but symbolically, this is the moment when consciousness faces the shadow. And you are now ready to face your shadow. But wait, because there is a critical point here. The equinox is not a reward, it is a door, and passing through every door requires courage. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming an individual. This process begins when a person sheds the expectations of others and confronts their true self. But most people walk up to that door and turn back, because the old identity feels safe. But growth never happens in the safe zone. Never forget this. The greater the risk, the greater the gain, in direct proportion. But our risk here is a little different. We need to take a step. So what are we stepping into? Transformation, of course. I know the feeling you've been carrying inside for a long time. I know you've said to yourself before falling asleep, I'm tired of everything. When will my life get better? But this is the frequency of rebellion. Most people fall into this trap, and because of it, a veil falls over their eyes. They look for change on the outside, but change and transformation begin from within. This is where we will take our step. We will bring out the feelings hidden and tucked away inside us, leave behind our old frequency, and embrace our new one. Now I need to tell you something. This March Equinox is ending the spiritual contract you made with your old identity and beginning a new one. So what does this contract mean? A spiritual contract is the invisible agreement of the beliefs, fears, limitations, relationships, and fate perceptions you carry in your subconscious. I am always like this. My life is always hard. I cannot be loved. I cannot succeed. These are all invisible clauses, and you have been living by signing this contract for years. But the equinox represents the moment that signature can be erased. Let me tell you a story. Last March, a woman wrote to me. Her name was Selin. She was 34 years old. She had a successful career, but in her relationships she always lived out the same scenario. Intense interest at first, then withdrawal, then abandonment. Every time she asked, "Why is it always me?" During the equinox period, I asked her just one question. Could it be that because you fear being abandoned, you choose people who will abandon you? She went silent at that moment, because that was the moment her subconscious opened. That week, Celine did something. For the first time, she didn't pull herself back at the start of a relationship. For the first time, she didn't write the script of "he'll leave me." For the first time, she recognized her fear, but didn't surrender to it. Today, she is in a healthy relationship of 2 years. What changed? Not the universe. The contract changed. Now, I turn to you. What is your contract? The March Equinox is telling you, cancel the old clauses. But what happens if you don't? Nothing. Life goes on, but with the same cycle. As Jung said, until a person learns their lesson, fate repeats the same exam with different faces. Perhaps different people come. Perhaps different job opportunities arise. But if you are on the same frequency, the result doesn't change. The equinox is a frequency shift, and this shift happens in 3 stages. The first stage is awareness. Pay attention to the emotions surfacing inside you in recent days. Sudden anger, sadness without reason, old memories coming alive. This is cleansing. The second stage is cracking. A belief shatters. The thought "I can't do it" is shaken. Perhaps an event occurs and pushes you out of your comfort zone. The third stage is rebirth. But there is a critical point here. Rebirth is not painless. A seed is silent as it tears through the soil, but it struggles. You may struggle too. And at this exact point, many people step back. Never mind, I'm fine with my old self. No, your old self was safe, but it was not free. Now, one more question for you. In what area of your life have you lately been saying, this can't go on like this? Work, relationships, your view of yourself, your financial situation? The equinox targets that area because your soul wants to grow, and growth always happens by breaking open the shell that has grown too tight. Do you remember Jung's concept of the shadow? The shadow is the side of yourself you have suppressed, the side you don't want to see. But the paradox is this: you cannot grow your light without facing your shadow. The March Equinox makes your shadow visible. Perhaps you'll feel jealousy toward someone. Perhaps your fear of failure will surface. Perhaps childhood traumas will be triggered. This is not a bad thing. This is cleansing. And now I will tell you something very important. If things have been unraveling in your life lately, if a relationship is ending, if a job is finishing, if a plan is being canceled, don't panic. This is not destruction. It is making room. As the old contract is canceled, space clears, and emptiness always makes room for new energy. But if you fear the emptiness, you will turn back. Now take a breath, close your eyes for a moment, and ask yourself, who do I truly want to be? The answer may not come immediately, but the seed has been planted. The equinox is the time to upload a new program to the subconscious. That is why I will give you 3 concrete steps. First step, write your old contract. On a piece of paper, write the negative patterns that repeat in your life. Write sentences that begin with I always, then next to each sentence write, this is no longer my truth, and tear that paper up, because the brain takes symbols seriously. Second step, create your new contract. Write sentences beginning with I now. I no longer feel worthless. I am no longer governed by my fears. I now choose abundance. Read these sentences every morning for 7 days. Third step, take a courageous action. It can be small, but step outside the scenario you are used to. Send a message, say no, make a new application, have a conversation. The equinox responds to action, not to stillness. And now I must tell you, this is just the beginning. Because in the second part, I will tell you how the March Equinox will create a leap in the field of fate, why your dreams will intensify, and why certain people will suddenly enter your life. But first, know this: you have now crossed the threshold, and there is no going back. Before we continue the video, I want you to do something. Subscribe to the Change and Transformation channel, and write in the comments, I am not afraid of change, and I am rising using the power of the March Equinox. But as you write it, believe every word, because belief is the foundation of all this. When you don't believe in something, the brain immediately blocks it and disregards it. I see it in the comments. People who say, do you really believe these? This is nothing but nonsense. They are on the losing side before they even begin. If only they knew what I've been telling you. The March Equinox is not merely a rise in energy. It is a leap point in the field of fate. Do you remember Jung's concept of synchronicity? Synchronicity refers to events that align in a meaningful way without a cause and effect relationship. That is, something happens in your life and you say, this happened at exactly the right time. I received this message just as I was thinking about it. This meeting cannot be a coincidence. The equinox opens the doors of synchronicity. But beware, synchronicity looks like chaos in the life of someone who is not ready. It looks like opportunity in the life of someone who is. Which one are you? Now I will tell you something very clearly. The 40 days following the March Equinox initiate an acceleration in the field of fate. Rapid decisions, sudden breakups, unexpected offers, seemingly coincidental encounters. All of these increase. That is why you need to be conscious. Because as Jung said, every energy that remains unconscious erupts in the outer world as an event. If you have suppressed anger inside you, someone will provoke you. If you have a suppressed desire inside you, an opportunity will arise. If you have a suppressed fear inside you, an event will occur that forces you to confront it. The equinox accelerates everything. Let me tell you another story. Mert, 38 years old. For years, he wanted to start his own business but couldn't bring himself to leave his secure salary. Every year, he said, maybe next year. Last March, his workplace went through a sudden downsizing and he was let go. When he wrote to me, he said, this is a disaster for me. I told him just one thing. Maybe this is a door that is pushing you forcibly toward freedom. For the first 3 weeks, he panicked. Then he sat down and wrote the plan he had been postponing for years. Today, he runs his own business. Now I ask you, if Mert had continued to see that dismissal as a disaster, What would have happened? The equinox sometimes pushes you out of your comfort zone, but this is not punishment. This is realignment. Now I will tell you something very important. The people who enter your life during the equinox period are not random. Some become teachers, some become mirrors, some become tests, and some become doors. Pay particular attention. If someone suddenly enters your life and both triggers you and helps you grow, that is a new clause in your spiritual contract. But there is a critical point here. If you haven't canceled your old contract, new people will play the same old roles. In other words, even if fate's cast of characters changes, if you don't change, the script doesn't change. Now I need to talk to you about dreams, because during the equinox period, dreams intensify. Jung defined dreams as letters from the subconscious. If in recent days you have been seeing your old home, if childhood memories are entering your dreams, if symbols of falling from height, flying, or water are increasing, this is subconscious cleansing. Water is purification. Flying is liberation. Falling is releasing control. The old home is the past identity. Don't dismiss your dreams. Take notes, because the symbols of the new contract appear first in dreams. Now a question for you. Is there a repeating symbol in your life lately? Perhaps a word, perhaps a number, perhaps the same topic coming from different people. This is the subconscious trying to get your attention. During the equinox period, signs accelerate. You may sense things in advance, or an inspiration may descend into your heart. When you look at a person, the energy around them feels smoother, more clearly perceived. Are they ill-intentioned? Are they well-intentioned? You will begin to sense this earlier. You may be able to see the masks of the people around you. You may receive unexpected good news from even your closest ones. Or if you have an unfinished piece of work from long ago, it is likely to be completed in March. Because we will use the equinox period as a stepping stone to elevate our frequency. But to see these signs, you need to slow down. And here, there is a danger. Too much mental noise. If you constantly consume fear-based news, chaos, drama, and negative content, you will not be able to hear the signals of the new contract. A mental detox is absolutely critical during the equinox period. Now I will give you 5 deep alignment steps. First step, silent morning. On the equinox morning, don't look at your phone for the first 10 minutes after waking. The subconscious is at its most open at that moment. Fill that space with intention, not fear. Second step, physical cleansing. Throw away something from your room, an old piece of clothing, an old notebook, an old object. The brain maps physical space onto subconscious space. Clearing space is clearing energy. Third step, name your fear. Write, I am actually afraid of. And be specific. Vague fear grows. Fear that is named shrinks. Fourth step, have a courageous conversation. Say something you haven't said for a long time. Be kind but clear. This is the first clause of the new contract. I am no longer silenced. Fifth step, gratitude ritual. At night, look in the mirror and say, I release my old self. I accept my new self. This sentence seems simple, but the subconscious takes symbolic language very seriously. Now, I will tell you one final thing about the shadow. We said the equinox is the moment when light and darkness are equalized. This means you will no longer only try to grow your light. You will also begin to claim your darkness. When you accept your jealousy, self-confidence is born. When you accept your fear, courage is born. When you accept your sense of inadequacy, your true potential emerges. The shadow is not the enemy. The shadow is raw energy. And the equinox is the opportunity to transform that raw energy. Now pay attention. In the coming days, one of 3 things may happen. A sudden ending, a sudden beginning, or a sudden awakening. Whatever it is, don't resist. Resistance is the reflex of the old contract. Acceptance is the door of the new contract. And now, I need to tell you one last thing. This period is one of realizing you are not alone. Because according to Jung's theory of the collective unconscious, we are all parts of the same great field of consciousness. If you are transforming, thousands of people on the same frequency are also transforming. That is why certain content has started to feel more appealing to you. That is why your paths are naturally separating from certain people. That is why you can no longer stay in certain environments. This is not loneliness. This is a frequency shift. And when the frequency shifts, the old environment can no longer understand you. This is normal. But remember, the new contract brings a new environment. Never grieve for what leaves. This is very important, because sometimes the universe takes you away from them so that you may rise and a new environment may come to be. Transitions come with pain. Perhaps a great collapse, perhaps intense depression. But remember, the deeper you fall, the higher you rise. What falls to you here is to be patient and to be grateful. And do you know what lies at the end? A very great reward. Yes, our ancestors did not say it for nothing. The end of patience is salvation. Our holy book, the Quran, says that after every hardship comes ease, and it repeats this twice. Do you know why? Because it wants us to be patient. This is your test, and how will you pass it? Will you continue patiently, believing that greater beauty is coming? Or will you begin to rebel? Your reward will come accordingly. Now I ask you directly, are you truly ready? Being ready is not waiting for a miracle. Being ready is taking responsibility. Because fate is not only what comes to you, it is what you choose. The equinox opens the door, but walking through it is your action. And if you have watched this video all the way to here, that is not a coincidence. The old you inside feels too confining. The new you inside is asking for space. That is why tonight, do this. Write one sentence. I am no longer blank. Fill in the blank. Then write the second sentence. I now choose blank. And read it out loud. Because words are vibration, and vibration shapes fate. If you feel a warmth, a clarity, or a slight fear inside you right now, that is a sign you are on the right path. Because growth is always a little frightening. But remember, a sprout cannot emerge without the seed cracking open. And you have already passed the cracking stage. The March Equinox has opened a new page in your spiritual contract. This page is not blank. This page is full of potential. And the pen of that potential is in your hand. We are at the critical threshold where time feels less like a linear line and more like spiraling cycles. The March Equinox, where light balances darkness and day balances night, is not merely a seasonal transition. It is the time for your soul to rewrite its own constitution. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now take a deep breath and let this sentence echo through the corridors of your mind. I am releasing my old fate. I am consciously choosing my new fate. This is an intention. This is a decision. This is a beginning. Most people think great changes will come with massive events, but real beginnings always appear small and quiet. Yet remember, beginnings may look small, but fate works in grand ways. Until today, that old contract that imprisoned you was written in the shadows of your past without your consent. Now you are picking up the pen. In this moment, when light begins to prevail over darkness, you have the chance to consciously build your own story. If this message has reached you, if you feel something becoming clearer inside you right now, this is not a coincidence. To transform your intention into a universal witness and take a concrete step, simply write in the comments, I accept the new contract. This is not just a sentence. This is the signature you are placing on your own future and your subconscious. And the universe never ignores a conscious signature. With this signature, you are breaking your old cycles and opening a door to the new version of yourself, full of potential. See you at the March Equinox. The door is now wide open, light and shadow are in balance, and you are no longer the old you.